Welcome into another edition of Mavs Latest. I'm Josyah Howard. Before we get it started, please subscribe down below. Leave any comments you got for me as we're going along. But let's start here. The schedule for the NBA is out, and obviously that includes the Dallas Mavericks. We found out the Mavericks will have 23 nationally televised games this season. That's 10th most in the league. And Yahoo Sports, they went over a few games that you should be keeping your eyes out on for this upcoming season. The season opener, October 22nd against the Spurs. The duel of number one pick versus number two pick on opening night on ESPN, October 22nd. Dylan Harper versus Cooper Flagg. October 27th, the Thunder come to town, their first battle against the defending NBA champions. And then they head to Mexico City against the Pistons on November 1st. That game will be streamed on Peacock. Then they head back to Cali with Anthony Davis heading back for his first time as a Dallas Maverick. And this will be Dirk Nowitzki calling the game for Amazon Prime for his first season as an analyst. So a nice Dallas Mavericks tie there on December 25th, Christmas Day. Klay Thompson will head back to Golden State, and he will make his return as, that will be one of the 5 ESPN games on Christmas Day. Luka shows right back up to American Airlines Center once again as a Laker, had 45 in his first return. He is back January 24th at American Airlines Center. New rivalry, quote unquote, San Antonio Spurs, February 5th. Another matchup against Dylan Harper, another matchup against Victor Wembanyama. And March 6th, the former foe against in the NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics, March 6th. And also a team that Cooper Flagg has been very public in saying that it was his favorite team growing up. So a little tie in there. So to kind of go over some of the matchups to stay keyed in on as the season goes along. Dylan Harper and Cooper Flagg open the season. They face the Pistons November 1st in Mexico City. AD returns to LA November 28th in a broadcast including Dirk Nowitzki. Also will be the last Cup pool game for the NBA Cup. Golden State return for Klay Thompson on Christmas. Luka returns on January 24th and April 5th. There will also be a 6-game road trip in February and a 5-game road trip in March. Just a few things to keep your eyes out on as the season rolls in. But let's move on because Cooper Flagg, he is favored to win Rookie of the Year at minus 185, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. But ESPN's Kevin Pelton, he ranked the biggest threats to Cooper Flagg being Rookie of the Year, and one option was Trey Johnson of the Washington Wizards. FanDuel has him at plus 800. He was the third leading scorer in Summer League behind Cooper Flagg and VJ Edgecombe. Next up, Ace Bailey, Utah Jazz, plus 1,500. I mean, we thought the draft 2 years ago was going to be Coop, Ace, Dylan. And it really ended up being Coop and Dylan. And Ace might be a steal for Utah. We'll see how he develops there. I wouldn't put my money on that one, though. Con Knipple, Charlotte Hornets, plus 3,500. For me, I would actually say VJ Edgecombe is the biggest threat, and here's why. Philadelphia, they deal with their injuries every year, and that might cause him to be able to step right in and develop and get way more usage than he was expecting. Paul George is not even healthy at this very moment right now. So I think there's a very real world where VJ gets a little bit more play than people are expecting. Not even just to start the season, but I more mean you have to always take into account that Philadelphia will always be mixed up in injury hell. That is just what happens to them. So you got to be ready for that. And do I realistically think anyone's gonna outplay Cooper Flag for Rookie of the Year? I really don't. I think it's his award to lose. Um, but I'd say just after watching Summer League, and you don't can't put a ton of weight into Summer League, but I'd say outside of Cooper, I was most impressed by VJ Edgecombe, and he might step in and get a lot more play than what people are expecting. But you know, somebody that may have not gotten as much play in the NBA Finals, there's a trade idea out there that would send 22-year-old Benedict Mathurin, coming off a year of 16 points, 5 rebounds, 45% from the field. He'll be making about $9 million next season. It's final rookie scale year, and if unsigned to an extension, might command a qualifying offer near 12 million next year. He showed some flashes in the NBA Finals. As a person, he needs to go to a team where he can get opportunity and grow. And I don't necessarily think that's Dallas, but let's just see what the trade is. Benedict Mathurin for Max Christie, Brandon Williams, and 2 second rounders. Now, I know there's a lot of stock in Brandon Williams right now, like a ton of stock behind him. And I like Max Christie. He's a really good, solid player. Um, I don't know if I would want to give up the capital for a guy like Mathurin, where you almost feel like you should have seen it already with him, right? Like, especially on a team like the Pacers, where they're dying for a star to take over that team outside of Halliburton. And, Siakam plays his role, he's an all star player, but they're looking for that guy to step out and take on that role. And Mathurin had games like that in this playoff run where you saw flashes of he could be that third option for them, but you can't rely on him. And not all third options need to be relied on. But if you're giving me under 10 points in the games that you're not being relied on, then that's a different story. So it doesn't seem like the Mavericks would be giving up a lot for Benedict. But it would work out early, right? But then you wouldn't even really need D'Angelo Russell, and then that kind of gets mucked up a little bit. And it just seems like bringing in Benedict to this situation just seems it's not worth the energy it would take to make it work. So I would say just hold off on doing that move. Maybe there's something a little bit more beneficial for the Mavericks in terms of not giving up draft capital. I know second rounders aren't strong in the NBA. I know people see second rounders and it's like, what? You don't want to give up a second rounder, but draft capital is much more valuable in the NBA than it ever has been in the history of the league, in my opinion. So, because of the CBA and just how everything is so hard capped now, you need draft picks. You need to be able to get cheap contracts on your team. So, it's not really worth the trouble, in my opinion, if I'm being honest. So, good player in Benedict, but I don't think right now it's worth the Mavericks going after. But to wrap things up with a little Mavs chatter, just wanted to put a little bit more attention on the upcoming deadline for PJ Washington to sign an extension. Well, not deadline. He's unable to sign a contract yet because he will be eligible for a 4 year, nearly $90 million contract extension on Friday, August 29th. Um, and, most insiders believe he will sign a deal of some kind, an extension of some kind with the Mavericks this season, this offseason, and get it done, lock it in. But it's something to monitor because the clock is ticking, and he will be a free agent next year. And I would imagine if he wants to stay with the Mavericks, I think they want to get this done sooner rather than later, because especially if you can get him on a deal similar to Gafford, that is very movable, that is very flexible, then you're in good hands because not only is his contract flexible, but he's flexible on the court in terms of where you could put him on the in the lineup. I think PJ Washington is a vital piece to the lineup making of the Dallas Mavericks in terms of how creative they can be with their lineup. So I would say you definitely want to get this deal done soon, uh, because if not, then you need to decide, all right, is it time to start putting some feelers out there and see who's interested in PJ Washington? But we shall see what will happen as that deadline, or not the deadline, but that date for his eligibility to sign his extension comes up on August 29th. But this has been another Mavs Latest. I'm Josyah Howard. Again, please subscribe down below. Leave any comments you got for me down below. And let's get it, y'all.